quick learning with joy. So for today's topic, we will discuss a real life situation, and let's get in. Navigating the tide of dot dot dot. We'll talk more about this. But before that, let's answer the question why we resist what's good for us. Okay. I mean, look at any situation and you'll find that there has always been enough resistance on whatever good or whatever bad is happening. There are always people questioning the change or the intent of change. Okay, let's look at this video.
Through much of my school and college years, I used to occasionally travel by the local train network. And you always got a sense that tragedy was never far away. Today, that translated into reality as 4 passengers were killed and 8 injured after falling from a moving train. The victims were apparently traveling on footboards and collided with commuters. The accident has put the focus yet again on the dangers of overcrowded suburban travel. Take a look in this report.
Bodies on railway tracks. At least 4 people were killed in Mumbai after more than 10 people fell from trains moving at high speed. The accident took place at Mumbai station as 2 local trains, one to Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus and the other to Kasara, passed each other.
इन 2 ट्रेनों के यात्रियों की आपस में
So we'll not go to the whole video, but what really happened was the trains coming from this direction and this train coming from this direction, and people were so overcrowded that they have sitting and standing on the footboard or the main door. And as they passed, they kept hitting each other, rubbing against each other, and that's how this many people died. Brutal. I totally acknowledge that. And yeah, so what happened here is so Mumbai train is a kind of lifeline, and Mumbai, as we all know, is a commercial city of or financial city of India. So there's a lot of activity that keeps happening. And the Mumbai local train is also known as the city's lifeline because a lot of people move from one end of the city to the other end of the city, carrying millions. For decades, they ran with an open door. So it has been a norm. It has been like an expected thing that the Mumbai trains will always run with open doors. This has been the system even with some other states like Kolkata. I've seen it runs with open door. So the problem was this system was fast but was fatal. We all knew this because open door is not safe. People could jump out and they may run into a pole or may slip and fall down, and then there are those chip off those rocks that they can hurt, right? Hundreds of commuters would lose their lives annually. So this is already known. The number of people would lose life because of this reckless way of getting in and out of the train and standing on the tracks as well. So what was identified that I think and the administration felt it's a good idea to probably introduce trains which has got like doors closed, or which can allow you to close the doors, so with the automatic doors. The intent was again very right, save people's life, right? So that was whole intent. What happened? So people didn't like it because it was something new. People were furious. Okay, there was agitation everywhere where the authorities implemented the new safer train, and the public reaction was not relief but furious protest. Why? They felt that they were used to jumping on and off of the moving train, which is of course a risky habit, but they got used to it and they've been doing it for generations. Now, the door created a perceived inconvenience and delay. Now, the people started thinking that this door is going to add extra half an hour to their schedule in getting on. So in case they were leaving at 6 o'clock, now because of the door, they probably have to leave home at 5:30, or they come half an hour late. So that added a perceived inconvenience. They felt a loss of control over the established daily ritual. So they felt that there will be something changing dramatically in their life, which no one is prepared for. The new logical life system was deemed too disruptive logic was met with resistance. As anticipated, people didn't like it, and there were resistance from all corners. There are incidents where people broke the door because they could not fit in. So that is how it was accepted or approached with. So why do we resist what's good for us? The same question that I asked you in the very first slide. The dramatic real world example is the core of change management. So change, as we know, is something different that we are not used to, and management is, managing that something new. Okay, how do we manage that something new? That newness has to be managed with very tactically, very carefully. It proves that change is not a technical problem, it is a human problem. It is not something wrong with your project or planning or anything. It's a problem with the human being and the psychology. Change management is the structured approach to helping people with transition from the current familiar state to a desired future state. So change management is a concept which helps organization, people to transition from the current state, which is very known state, to the new desired state, which is good or bad. We don't know that yet. That's debatable. But yeah, the transition is the change management. It is the process of addressing the emotional reasons behind the resistance. We all have to understand that you are dealing with people, therefore there are a lot of emotions in it. So that needs to be addressed first. Before talking about savings, benefit, values and all that, you got to first address the need, the emotional need. So that was what completely missing in the earlier stage. What we fear in change. So we kind of talked about it. The fear is unknown. That means we don't know what this change is going to bring about. How is this going to change my life? Will I be getting late to office? Will I be earning less money? Will I get less amount of sleep? Or will there be a problem with getting, or do I have to change my things? Disruption of habits. So there's a pattern that is created over these decades of travel every single day. Now you're disrupting this because now you have to wait for the door to open, the train to stop, door to open, and then you get out. In early stages, you didn't have to do that. As you saw the train was slowing down and approaching the station, people could hop out, they could jump, right? So that was one habit that will break. Loss of control. They felt there's a perceived loss of control that there's some change will impact their life and they will not be able to do things that they have been doing it on their own. So therefore there's a threat. Misunderstanding the why. So this is something that can be mitigated only through communication. So the benefits can be shown to them by communicating. And there are various ways, there are various tools and techniques that can be used to make sure that the communication is done and people understand the value of such change. If the benefit isn't clearly emotionally communicated, inconvenience will win, right? So let's take a look at what do we do about this one. So K. Levin offers a model. This model is called Unfreeze-Change-Refreeze, a very globally known a tried and tested formula that has worked for many organizations and in all sectors you can talk of. So what exactly is unfreeze? Unfreeze is before the doors clearly demonstrate that the status quo is more painful, tragic and unacceptable than change itself. Establish the urgency. How do you do that? Put those posters up showing the number of people, or put up the count of people who died because of these open doors accidents. Okay, communicate them through various channels, Instagram, Facebook, because they are very commonly used. News channels, again, very commonly used channels. So that way you will be then setting it up. People will start realizing that this probably is a need of the hour where safety is it's time for them to really focus on safety. Implement the change. Roll out the change with clear steps, training, support, and proactively address the fears. The fear could be that. 1. Slow. 2. The number of people who normally would stand on the footboard or hang around and get to the destination. If there is a door put in, what happens to those guys? They will not be able to board the train. So would there be additional trains? No. Would there be additional trains introduced? Would there be new berths introduced? What will happen to those guys? So those are some of the challenges that will need to be addressed for people to start feeling comfortable about this change. And lastly, rephrase. That means embed the new process, celebrates the safety results, and ensure the new safe habits take root. So this is where you have put this into implementation, and you have taken feedback and people liked it. So celebrate success is what you do here in this stage. So unfreeze, change, refreeze. Just 3-step process, but needs meticulous planning in implementing such large-scale project. We move on. Beyond the logic leading the transition, how could the door implementation have been managed better? We all now think on the hindsight. Communicate why relentlessly. Communication is the best way to get this out for people to start accepting it as a need for the hour, right? Of the hour. Why we are adding doors? Why are we securing your? We are securing your safe return home every day. Okay. Get some celebrities, some sports personnel to do this ads that they want to go back home safe to their family. People can resonate. It will resonate with people. Acknowledge the pain. Yes, you have to wait. You'll not be able to jump. No, the very first step on the platform. Yes, we understand that. But it is for you. It's better late than never. That kind of concept. Address what ifs. Proactively show safety features like manual override. So in case of an accident, people fear that they will be claustrophobic, they'll be closed in a place and they can't get out of the place. So then you got to show them the benefits of point out with the large icons with colorful tapes saying that this is the manual overrides. You can use that to open the doors or disengage the doors so that you can get out in case of an accident. So those will start building confidence in your passengers. Find champions, people who are advocate, people who feel that this is important, or people who have lost someone, in this kind of incident. They will be the advocate who will come forward, and they're the ones who will probably help you market this concept, right? So those are another way of getting this around. Now, this may sound very simple, but this require a large-scale implementation, just like any other project. The Mumbai Day train. What's your role in this change? Like any other change management process, okay, your takeaways as a leader is not just to design the door. That is the core job that will be done, but as part of the risk management, you will also need to manage the transition, because this transition, the biggest failure mode is people's acceptance level, and this acceptance, if it falls down, your large-scale implementation will just go down the drain. With that said, if it's me, unfreeze and the other concepts that was in the earlier slide, I would also I would prefer to implement this in a smaller route. Okay, put the door there, run it for at least 6 to 8 months, show some great results. And once you have the results out, that's when you take it out and use it in the publicity, saying that, this is a great concept. It worked for various routes. So now it's time to implement in other areas too, right? So that is another way, and it's a controlled environment for you to try it out. And then always start by unfreezing the old ways by showing that it's dangerous clearly. Communicate emotional and so on. Unfreeze means just make sure that you're communicating enough before the changes are being implemented, right? So with this, I'm happy to hear any kind of questions or feedback about this. Do let me know, and thanks for watching again.